Welcome back to the Fight Failure Podcast. I'm your host, MM. Today we're going to be doing Think Big and Kick Ass by Donald Trump. So this is a very simple review, a very short review. The book itself was over 9 hours long. I do not recommend you listen to it or read it at all. It is definitely has the biggest noise to signal ratio of anything I've thus far read. And it was, by the way, the first review I did on Fight Failure. So unless you're interested in Trump and you just want to know some funny anecdotes without lessons, because all the lessons are in this review, then read it. But it's definitely not an effective use of your time. So let's get to the review itself. Number one, you think big. As Trump would say, if you're going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. And really, if you think that just sounds stupid, it just comes down to effective risk management. If you're going to take a risk, it might as well be a big risk. That's just, I guess, the game theory behind it is, you want to take a large risk, and there you go. It needs to be a big risk anyway. And also, thinking big just seems to get big results because you marshal mental resources and think of things in a way that produces larger results, even if you don't ultimately reach your, lofty goal. In fact, that was mentioned in The One Thing by Gary Keller, as he said, you should, if you need to let's say you need to make 10 widgets, make a plan that makes 20 widgets. That's basically what thinking big is. And you might not get to 20, but you'll probably get to 15. So you might as well plan and think big. Number two, never give up. Very obvious. If you give up, you're done. Number three, be solution oriented. Don't just think of a problem pointlessly. And this is something I had trouble with. I think everyone sort of has a little trouble with this. A lot of people just think of a problem, they just get worried about it, and they don't realize that they're not actually even putting their mental resources towards solving the problem. So do that. Don't just think of it. In fact, if you don't have a solution at all, if it's something outside of your control, don't think of it. There's nothing you can do. Now, that being said, if there are some things that you can't do anything about in terms of solving, but they're things you can prepare for, I think, yes, prepare. Even if you think or other people tell you it's something irrational, like maybe you think AI is coming and AI is going to do some interesting things to the world, then think of how can I prepare best for that in terms of protecting myself, my family, and whatever other goals you can think of. I mean, there you go. And once you do anything for that, it's going to make you feel better. Moving on. Don't be afraid to go with your gut or go against everyone else's opinion. Sometimes people are wrong, and if people are wrong, and it's not your ego, and even if these people are experts, quote unquote experts, because let's be honest, a lot of expertise is in a way a lie, in the modern world especially, then you just have to make the call yourself. You have to take it out of the realm of theory, and if it seems like, no, that doesn't make sense, then go with your gut. And if you have to shirk everyone else, then just do it. So don't get scared of speaking, of business, of leaving your comfort zone. It's all a game. Think about war. Think about 9/11, tsunamis, anything else that is truly horrible, and realize how stupid it is to be afraid of business or anything else you experience in common life. These things are really nowhere near as stressful as any of us think they are. We're not killing people. We're not getting killed. Even if you were to fail in terms of bankruptcy, you're going to have food, you're going to have water. There's not nearly as much risk in your everyday life as your ancient risk detection system, your amygdala, thinks there is. You want to know the truth? The most risk you have is when you're driving your car. Everything else is just a joke. Don't dwell on negative thoughts. Reframe the mood, especially if the organization is down. So that does go back a little bit to be, solution oriented and don't just think of a problem pointlessly. But more than that, reframing the mood. So in the early 1990s, when Trump was actually failing and he was doing very badly and he was in a lot of debt, he was still calling people and still working out future deals that he had no way at all in the present to do. He did this, and he would talk to his team. His team had gotten very despondent, very much in a state of learned helplessness. And so he started talking to them about the great big deals that they would be doing in the future. And it changed the mood, and it got people productive again. And there you go. You want to reframe the mood, especially if the organization is down. Know your business inside and out. Get all the facts, ask smart people their opinions, and then still go with your gut. So this goes back to what so many books say, and it's great advice and makes sense. You learn everything you can about something, both from books and mentors. And this is determined by how much time you have. If you have a very large amount of lead-up time, you need to be hitting the books and learning as much as you can about something as much as possible. Now, if you don't have that much time, you're going to have to be smarter about it, and you're going to, find the best resources and then just dig through those as quickly as possible. And then after you do that, you talk to the experts or people whose opinion you trust, and you get all the facts about the situation, and then you make the call. You go with your gut. Your word is gold. Once you've shaken someone's hand, the deal is done. No matter what happens, unless they're fucking you, unless you determine from the entire time they've been trying to fuck you, then obviously you don't have the obligation to go through with it. But it's very important. You do not want to get the reputation at all of someone who goes back on their word. If you have time, get more info. If not, act immediately. If it would help best to be audacious, to do something now, even without more information, then do it now. If there's no problem in holding off, learn as much as you can. Timing is everything in success. You may hold on to ideas for years or decades before the time comes, but don't blow your load too soon. I mean, you have to have the timing right, and learning how to get the timing right is just really an experience thing. And this is especially true in deal making. You don't make deals when people are riding high, when their egos are, soaring. So timing is everything in deal making. Listen to your instincts, especially in areas you have deep experience. When luck is on your side is the time to work even harder, and you should already be working near your capacity. But when things are going your way, when you get the big break, that's the time to just go all out. Use anger constructively to get things done. It is energy. You can also use anger in terms of motivating others, but you definitely don't need to do that too much, but if you need to, you can fake being very angry at people. Some people that doesn't work on, but that is definitely a tactic. Be optimistic while still seeing all of the issues that need to be dealt with. So he mentions by name the power of positive thinking. He read it when he was a kid, and Norman Vincent Peale was his pastor. So many of the important things in his life happen at that church that Norman Vincent Peale was at. He got married there, I think 2 times. Ivanka got married there. Before the inauguration, there was a pre-inauguration thing at that church. So Norman Vincent Peale is the reason why Trump... So, I mean, there you go. That's one of the big signs that this stuff works, is you see someone like Trump who is exposed to the power of positive thinking at a very young age, and it obviously has helped him in immense ways. But he believes in both, and we'll get to that. He believes in both the power of positive thinking. Well, I'll just say it now. He believes in the power of positive thinking, but negative thinking has power too. You use it to mitigate risk. You use it to persuade people, and you use it so that you do not go for pie in the sky, completely crazy out there stuff. So negative thinking does have power, but positive thinking definitely has more power. You just do not want to lose touch with reality or with your ability to deal with risk. As mentioned in the happiness advantage, optimism and positive thinking only becomes maladaptive when you start to overestimate your own ability. So do not overestimate your own ability. Be honest about that. And this next one, a lot could be said about this one. Always get even. Now, you've been told throughout your life to let it go, to make amends, to forgive that person who did that to you and whatnot. And sometimes you need to do that, yeah. Especially when it's a family member, especially when it's someone you care about, and especially when it really wasn't that big a thing. But otherwise, you need to fucking get even with that person. And it's a survival thing if you're working at the higher levels. Because if you don't make an example, you're going to look like weak trash, and people are going to take advantage of you. You have to make examples of people, even if you aren't the kind of person who would like to get even. Personally, I am. I mean, I read that and I'm like, thank you, someone giving me permission to fucking get even. You need to do it, you know? I mean, don't be evil, but hey, I mean, if somebody was bad to you, Trump says respond and get them back harder. So you know, you can do what you want, but always get even. Keep momentum going by constantly challenging yourself and never stopping. Never accept defeat. It's only a setback. And it's a setback that you learn things from. If you can't learn things from it, and I suppose that happens, then it is just a setback. But generally, you can learn something from a failure. To start momentum, high knowledge in the area, energy, and immediate and sustained action. So knowledge, energy, action. And then you have to just keep it going. You just don't stop. You just keep the chain going. You do it every single day. As mentioned again in The Happiness Advantage. I keep mentioning that book because that was such a solid book. But you just keep the chain going. And it really does just keep you going without any kind of willpower needed. It's amazing. Next, never lose your focus. And this goes back to the momentum in a way, is, you know, when you stop the momentum, there's also a tendency to lose your focus. So focus requires discipline. You know the things you're doing right now that are just wastes of time. You can immediately get rid of those. Then the things after that are suboptimal things. Things that can be replaced with more important things. It comes down to, at the end of the day, there's one thing above everything else, which is the whole premise of The One Thing by Gary Keller. So there's the Perdomo rule that, 20% of actions give you 80% of results. But within that 20% of actions, there is almost always one action that gives more results than any of the others. Find that, focus on that in your various things, and focus on it, remain disciplined, and that's the way you get the big productivity. And this last one I thought was interesting. Videotape your spouse when she signs your prenup. That way there is no "I was forced into it" bullshit. Because that's how prenups get thrown out in court, is she says, "Oh, I didn't know what I was signing. Oh, it was bullshit," and all that. So he says just fucking videotape the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, well, no matter what you think of Trump, and it's cool if you don't think much of him, at least if it's in terms of not like you believe CNN, but I don't think he's actually gives a shit about America. Well, okay, I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, maybe it's true. I don't really know. But this is some good stuff, so I hope you enjoyed the blog cast. I hope you find some value in it. And I'll try to keep pumping these out.